All right, so let's talk a bit about cancer and how you can reach your long-term goals. Let's see if we can get you to where you'd like to go without sacrificing you in the process. And that's an important point, right? We have to figure out how to get you, Cancer, to a place that not only reaches what you feel is important, what you value out there, but also what preserves and takes care of and nurtures what's in here. And we got to talk about a few of the pitfalls. So we're just going to break it down like this, that you have to understand that exposing your feelings, Cancer, that is number one, right? Exposing your feelings allows you to command yourself in an optimal way. And sometimes you're afraid to expose your feelings, insecurities, fears, fear of abandonment, rejection, the fact that other people won't respect your feelings on the level that you feel that they should because you're not respecting your feelings on the level that you should. And all this can be fixed, right? And part of it is we have to stop seeking recognition from other people. So as a Cancer, you have to stop looking for other people to give you that respect and that recognition. You have to start respecting yourself first. That's step one. And then you have to stay tuned in to your feelings, into your self-doubts. You have to be willing to voice those to other people, to tell people the honest truth about what's going on inside, which is going to start to create those emotional bonds which you've been seeking. It's actually weird because acknowledging your own insecurities actually creates a stable, concrete foundation for outer worldly achievement. And the reason that this is because is that you remove the inner conflict. And this way you're able to stop containing your feelings and to succeed in the outer world, to achieve in the outer world, to reach status and respect and honor and some sort of place in social status that's prestigious. What tends to happen is that we pay a price of spending long, hard hours on that goal. And that is sometimes to the detriment of the family unit and the interpersonal life. By foregoing the close emotional bonds with others in our domestic life. The problem with this is that as Cancers, and if you have any Cancer in the chart, but especially if you have a couple of planets there, you know, maybe a Mercury or a Venus in addition to your sun or your moon or your rising sign, then you'll have a strong desire to bond with the family unit, with loved ones on a home level, on a domestic level, people close to you in your inner circle, people you want to bring in close to you. You want to create that for yourself. That safe, loving, nurturing place, not just for you, but for them, because you are a nurturer, Cancer. That's how you're going to attain your larger goals out in the world. And we're going to talk about this. So Cancer is attached to Capricorn, right? They're parts of this polarity. So you have Cancer on one side, and then on 180 degrees on the other side, you have Capricorn. So it's like the same thing, right? But just in different degree. Like the stable home environment is the foundation for outer worldly success, and outer worldly success supports the home environment. Achievement out there and reaching our goals creates success for ourselves and our families. It's very important that the family shares values and that we achieve together, right? So this motherly, maternal, nurturing archetype, which can be used whether you're a male or a female, right? You can be a nurturing type of football coach, where you motivate people, but then you kick them out onto the field when it's game time, right? But you take them under your wing and you coach them up nice and you treat them like family, right? And then you have some coaches who keep that large distance and they won't even deal with it. So we have to deal with both of these things, both the home and the family, but we have to understand where we're orienting ourselves to. When we have all our planets in Cancer, we're using Capricorn as a foundation for success in the home on a personal level, meaning that when we mistake the Capricornian goals and the achievement we desire as Cancers, when you mistake your ambitions for Capricornian ambitions because it's closely related and connected, and this happens all the time, and you need to achieve to take care of the family, you need to achieve to feel good to share your things, but the problem is that achieving for you has to come through the sharing and the emotional bonds that you create, which take the burden off your shoulders, which you shouldn't be carrying around all the time. So these Capricornian goals that Cancer sets ends up desensitizing them. So you get desensitized to your own emotional state, which is not good, because what this does now is it leads to a suppression of your own personal desires and needs. Personal. Cancer deals with what's personal relationships, personal life, pertaining to me, pertaining to you, Cancer. And then Cancer tends to almost unconsciously use these lofty aims that they have out in the world, this giant desire for recognition and achievement, and to accomplish their goals for their own personal reasons at times, right? They use this as a means to suppress the feelings. Now, what is a feeling? A feeling is an emotional reaction, right? It's an emotional state or a reaction. And emotions, this is important. We're going to define this many times on this channel. An emotion is a response to a fact of reality. That's it. And then we use that fact to estimate against our standard, which is our values, which are the things we would act to gain and keep. Very, very important, because our goals, our Capricornian goals, should be based on our values over there in the sign of Taurus in the second house of resources and material goods, of building. We're building something in the outer world. The goals are helping us obtain something we can then store in that second house. We go to work at our career and we get rewarded with money and we store it in the second house. We go to work with our career and we get rewarded with a brilliant social network and a great level of social status, and we put that in the emotional security sector in the second house. And so you see how Capricorn, the goals, because goals can be contained within a larger goal, right? You have this large overall goal, and that's in Capricorn. But then we can have smaller goals, right? Like my larger goal is to be, let's say, 250 pounds and Mr. Olympia, right? But my daily goal is to, do 3 sets of 5 of like super heavy weights, and then later my goal would be to do a cut where, now I'm upping it with the cardio and scaling back after I bulked up. So you can see how like there's different little goals along the way, and those help you reach and obtain your ultimate value, which is the social status of Mr. Olympia, which, sustains you mentally, emotionally, and maybe brings you rewards monetarily and opportunities. And all those get stored in the nice second house of resources. And then we utilize those to achieve further goals in the future and to be of service to other people, and et cetera, and support our home and family life, right? Back to Cancer. So as a Cancer, you will not get the recognition that you want. And the reason you won't get the recognition that you're seeking is because it's not a good barometer. You won't get the recognition you're seeking, rather, if that's your barometer for success. if you're looking for people to go, oh, wow, you're the best, you're so great, we love you, and wow, we really respect what you did here. As a Cancer, a lot of times you're just really good at stuff. Stuff comes easy. And sometimes you have kind of like a genius for things, but you can get lazy. It's like because you're wanting other people to tell you you're doing a good job, to look to you as the authority figure on these matters, and then they kind of don't because it's not about that. So letting go of the need for recognition allows you to actually enjoy what you're doing. So what do we need to do to be successful here? We have to do two things. We have to organize your Cancerian life in a way that encompasses a long-term goal and meets your personal needs and fulfills your personal needs and desires. So what we do is we set up these goals based on what makes you happy. Okay, and we define happiness as the state of consciousness that proceeds from the achievement of your values. So values are the things we would act to gain and keep, right? So those are the things that our emotions are concerned with. Our emotions are these response to these facts of reality, which are telling us where are we at in relation to our value, which is our standard. I value, I value real estate and, having really nice properties and helping other people get properties because that's what I do as a Cancer, let's say, because Cancers have really good real estate karma, right? Which is just a way of saying they're really good at it. By nurturing other people, helping them find a home that they're comfortable in, they also win. And when that's the focus is nurturing those other people, helping them get what they need, helping them achieve the home and the status that they want for their family, you also win as a Cancer because those people help bring you money through that process, but they also remember all the nurturing that you gave out, and a great emotional bond is created that is a win-win for everybody. So yeah, the happiness on a personal level, Cancer, personal, is what we're basing our goals on. This long-term goal that we have, which is always so important to Cancer because Cancers always have the weight of the world on their shoulders. I got to take care of mom. I got to take care of the family. I got to take care of the kids. I got to take care of my friends. Even when they don't know how, even when they're not very good at it sometimes. It's like they still feel that way. Right? And then there becomes a war because an inner conflict. Because they feel the need to achieve, but they're denying their personal needs to do it, and it doesn't work. Now, this personal form of joy is your accurate barometer for success. So now we have a good measuring stick, right? Recognition was a bad measuring stick. But you can achieve if your own personal happiness is the special sauce, because then you're doing it because you enjoy doing it. And that's powerful. Like, I actually like doing real estate. I actually like doing home remodeling. I actually like helping people redecorate. I actually like taking care of the farm or the kids. Great. Then that's what you enjoy. So you're not doing it because you want the credit of being super mom. You're doing it because you want the credit of, you're not doing it for credit, rather, you're doing it because you just enjoy it. And then the credit comes your way because you're just in your element. Everything you do stands up on its own. You don't need another's approval. You don't need another's recognition for that. And nor do you crave it anymore because you're being you. But likewise, what happens? You get the recognition. So if recognition or social credit becomes your barometer, then it takes you off track. And success is then elusive. So Cancer, what happens if you don't have this long-term goal? What happens if you're not dedicated and committed to this long-range affair? Well, something unconscious sort of happens. And you go into a sort of prevent mode, sort of prevent defense get into your shell and you try to prevent things from happening. So in this mode, you automatically try to control others in order to maintain existing conditions. Now, this isn't you trying to be a jerk. You're not trying to be controlling, but you, as a Cancer, it's like it's your biggest desires to be in control of situations, which is why you often don't reveal your feelings, because you feel like that will take me out of control. When in reality, it puts you in command of yourself on that deeper level. Because you're not worried about the rejection of the other, you're worried about nurturing yourself, taking care of you, not ignoring you. You're out of control when you're ignoring yourself to preserve this false paradigm that if you can keep your feelings in and manipulate these situations, you won't get hit off with what you don't want. So that's what's happening. You're not trying to be a jerk. You're trying to keep yourself from ending up with what you don't want. So the solution to this is, like I said, to have long-range goals based on what brings you joy, not social recognition, right? That's not the barometer. And then from there, what we do is we focus on what we do want. We get you to focus on what you do want, not what you don't want. By focusing on what you do want, it allows you to communicate very clearly to others. You communicate with clarity. You create a nice emotional bond. People actually help you out on the level that you want. Your personal needs don't get neglected. So important, rather than trying to manipulate people to make sure you don't get hit off with what you don't want. Like, I don't want this project to be late when we submit it for our finals assignment, let's say. Well, you're working with a group on this project. The thing you might be afraid to tell them is, how you feel about that. You're afraid that the project could be late. That's your biggest concern. And you might say something like, I'm okay with everybody doing their thing creatively, but everybody has to submit their draft or their piece of this project a week before the project is due, because my biggest thing is I just don't want it to be late. So now you've created an emotional bond where you've shared your fears, you voiced your concerns, and you let people know your boundaries, your Cancerian boundaries. And now people can respect you and go, okay, all right, we'll make sure we have that thing to you by a week. And now also you've told them. So you feel you now have a course to go back and say, hey, it's a week before the project's due. Where is your stuff? Because we need to assemble all this and get it organized so we can hand it in. And now you've already voiced that concern, so you won't feel like you won't do it anyways. But when you focus on what you don't want, you may just be thinking, I'm not telling them what I do want, which is to have everything a week beforehand. But you're telling them, you're just trying to make sure that everybody gets that. So you're like, you do this, you do that, you do this. And then you lose the personal element, because now you're not connecting and bonding emotionally. You're just delegating tasks to people, which isn't so bad because you want to stay focused on the overall goal, which is to get this project in on time. But when you're delegating tasks to other people like that, from a I don't want things to happen perspective, you're trying to control the people around you to get a job done in order to not experience the feeling of having turned it in late and your professor or so-and-so looking down on you or giving you a bad grade. So instead, what you've done now is you've lost the emotional bond. You haven't shown respect for your own feelings because you didn't tell people clearly what you wanted. You just tried to control them through other means by not revealing your feelings to remain in control. It doesn't work. And the other thing that communicating from what you do want does is it allows you not to suppress, right? It allows you to be a self-nurturer. The big notes that I have here is a lot of Cancers have planets in Leo. It just happens, right? The Sun, Mercury, Venus, always around each other. There's good chances that if you have Cancer, you may have a planet in Leo. But your job is not to play roles in this lifetime like a Leo. It doesn't mean you can't play roles and use your Leonian side. It just means This is an important part of life that you have to understand here. Playing roles for others to earn their respect will take you off path every single time. Because respect is not an accurate barometer for you in this lifetime. You need to learn to respect others and to nurture others in a way that also nurtures yourself. To do it in a way that's not self-sacrificing. Not I'm working this job to take care of the family unit. It's I'm doing what I love. And by doing that, the family unit is cared for. There's a difference there. I respect the family unit enough to voice my emotions and follow a path of joy. Because if you're not achieving your values, you're in a self-sacrificial mode. And everybody suffers. Because if you really are that pillar to the family that you believe that you are, that you know that you are, then what happens when you're sacrificed? What happens when your values get sacrificed? What happens when you're on the altar of immolation? It's no good. If the family uses you and you're the one carrying the burden for the family, we all lose. So don't do it. Now, when you don't make this sacrifice, when you actually bond with the other people the way that you'd like, by respecting them enough to share your true feelings, to create an honest emotional bond, respecting yourself enough not to be seeking the credit and recognition from them so that you're not in inner conflict on your own end, so that you become a self-nurturer while nurturing the rest of the people. You then create an emotional bond with others. You no longer see them as assets or liabilities in relation to your larger goal. And that allows them to be an actual asset, because now you have personal connections which take the burden off your back. You can accept the help and the love and the care from others who are following now your own example of how you deal with yourself and how you handle yourself in life. They're on board with you and your way of doing business. And your way of doing business is that you don't deny yourself pleasure now, because when you delay gratification, when you delay, and I don't mean to, there's a benefit to delaying gratification to the overall goal, obviously. But when you don't allow yourself pleasure now, the pleasure and the joy of actually following the purpose, that larger goal, and actually listening to your emotions and your emotional state, then what happens is that that delay of pleasure is an infinite pushback, meaning you'll continue to do that in the name of this larger thing. And now we're back to sacrifice. So the way to win for you, the way to success for Cancer, one of many, because we're going to make more videos, we're going to talk more about Cancer, is to have those long-range goals based on personal joy and not social recognition, and to continue to focus on what you do want and stay away from what you don't want. Lighten yourself up, be a little less serious. I know this stuff is important to you, but that's all the more reason you should listen to what's going on the inner level. And then that will help you win. That will help you succeed. And we'll create more. We'll create more videos over time. You know, I got to get to other things and other signs, but if you have questions, leave them in the comments. If you like this video, please give it a like, give it a share. Please subscribe to the channel. I'm going to make more videos, not just about Cancer, but other things. And the good news is you have an entire chart. So learn what you can about other signs, other houses, other different things that I may be talking about. And feel free, if you have a request for a certain video or topic you want me to break down, send that in and maybe I can get to that too. So, all right, I will talk to you soon.